The question of evil has always been with mankind. And as usual, man always looks for someone to blame for what we ourselves do. We have been so deceived into believing that there is a being who actually goes against the true God. I am an Iblisian priest, or otherwise called a Satanist, Luciferian. With this being said, I will show you why. I had a Persian friend in Tehran, an avant-garde playwright and member of a sect called Al-Ihaq, people of truth, or people of God, Haq being a divine name, who traveled to the valley of the Satan worshippers in the mid-1970s. A Kurdish sect a Kurdish sect influenced by extreme Shiism, Sufism, Iranian Gnosticism, and native shamanism. The Al-Ihaq consists of a number of subgroups, most of whose adherents are non-literate peasants, with no sacred book to unite these subgroups in their remote valleys. They often develop widely divergent versions of the Al-Ihaq myths and teaching. One subgroup venerates Satan. I know of almost nothing written about the Shaitan, Paratian, or Satan worshippers, and not much has been done on the Al-Ihaq in general. Many secrets remain unknown to outsiders. The Tehran Al-Ihaq were led by a Kurdish peer, Ustad Nur Ali Elahi, a great musician and teacher, whom I pass along my sincere apologies for mutilating your name, kind sir. It was quite unintentional. Please forgive me. Some old-fashioned Al-Ihaq considered him a renegade because he revealed secrets to outsiders, non-Kurds, and even published them in books, these secrets. When my friend asked him about the Satan worshippers, however, Elahi gently rebuffed him. Don't worry about Shaitan. Worry about the Shaitan, literally the thing of the body, the carnal soul, the separative ego. If you as the reader, or in this case, my dear esteemed viewer, can truly absorb what was just said, it is a truth that most have never learned. And if it was learned, then it has been forgotten. It is the separative ego, the carnal soul inside each of us that we must worry about, not the being known as Satan. Satan holds the key for us in our return to the Most High. You're going to see in the rest of this presentation, as well as the others to follow in this whole odyssey of Umbanda, that nothing is as it seems to be. As a true Satanist, I will show you the path of truth, and you will never look at Satanism the same way ever again. In our modern day approach to things, contemporary spirituality has fallen into a great error. This error is the focusing on light and love only. As an Iblisian Satanist or Gnostic Satanist, I object to the white light view of the spirit world because it overlooks the robustness, color, strength, passion, and depth that is the spirit world. The spirit world of those of the white lighters or right-hand path is thin and very one-dimensional. These type of people reside in an unreasonable state of happiness. The dark spirituality is not encouraged, let alone acknowledged as a valid spiritual way or path. The West especially has rejected the left-hand path of dark spirituality because of the Western view of religion, which has created this image of God as a good God in whom there is no darkness at all. A huge drama is occurring around the globe. This light has been overemphasized, and the dark has been put away as something to be feared. The followers of this good God always, or often, I should say, denigrate the use of dark symbolism and imagery, and through this, they miss an essential point. Parts of our being exist at night as well as at day. The seed grows in the darkness of the ground, and the fetus grows in the darkness of the womb. And the soul awaits rebirth in the darkness of death. Black is the very symbol of the feminine aspect of the divine, and this is an aspect we need to be with in full. But this has been no accident that the religions have done away with this feminine aspect of darkness in favor of the light side, which is the male aspect. The dark holds mystical secrets. The ancient teachers have told us that the dark shields us from a light so powerful that most could not bear its intensity. All the prophets took their mystical journeys at night. Always remember this. The mystic sees the light of the sun as black when compared to the inner light of the heart. There are two poles of existence, light and dark, left and right, and yet most people do not try to balance these poles. In fact, the true spiritual person will be at odds with society or even be an adversary to society. Adversary in Hebrew is Satan, and even with religion. And yet this is because the mystic must go against the society and religion, and because of the truth that they know. If they do not go against them directly, they at least ruffle a bunch of feathers. Modern spiritual systems teach us to reject the shadow side and call it evil, since the shadow is inherent and necessary part of the human being. The Western religious systems teach us to actually split from ourselves. We should integrate our shadows and deal with them instead of rejecting or repressing them. Let's look at an important mystic, Hussein ibn Mansur al-Hallaj. He was one of the great Muslim pietists of all time, who was later killed for heresy. As a young man, he became a Sufi, and shortly thereafter, he was rejected by them. He became an intimate of God, proclaiming, "I am the divine truth," and experienced the anguish of separation from him. While in prison, he wrote his greatest work, the Kitab al-Tawassun, in which he praised both the prophet and the devil without apparent contradiction. He was the lover of God supreme and realized his love through suffering. He asked of his people to kill him and went dancing in chains to his own execution for their salvation. Hallaj's life appears to represent the inherent contradiction of creation. If God is good, then why is there evil? Perhaps within the Quranic story of the fall of Iblis, Satan, there lies a key to understanding the enigma of both Hallaj and creation. Sufi theology up until Hallaj would not venture far from Iblis' outright condemnation by God as the despised one, too prideful to follow his command to bow to Adam. Iblis was regarded by many Sufis to have been the teacher of the angels and the greatest in devotion to God, only to become the most reviled of God's creation, continuously tempting humanity to evil. For Hallaj, Iblis' refusal to bow stemmed from a strict monotheism, his absolute love for God. He thus became a tragic hero for Hallaj and for certain mystics who came after him, who found in Iblis, Satan, the model of the perfect servant. Did you hear that correctly? Or even, did you read that correctly? Yes, you did. Satan refused to bow because of his love for the Creator, not because of pride. But these secrets are kept secret because of the very end that halaj faith. The mystics know the truth of Satan or Iblis. The common people have not, nor will they ever realize that the truth is just that, the truth. This is what we as human beings have to realize. If God is God, then can anything or any entity really go against this God? Source, the prime creator, the divine grid programmer? To be honest, if the religious systems are right about Satan, then the fact is this: God is losing. The divine grid programmer is just did not program, bereft of any error. In fact, his programming logic is skewed, to say the least. God is losing if Satan as it's been, the religious systems have called it accurately concerning Mr. Iblis, Satan. God is losing, they say. People are becoming worse than ever. People who claim to be believers. And we are in the Kali Yuga, of course, where minutes seem like days, rich become the beggars, and fools become the wise. People are becoming worse than ever. People who claim to be believers are just as horrible and sinful as anyone else. God is losing. This teaching that God will one day put Satan under him and in hell isn't working. Wake up, people. The evil comes from us. Satan or Iblis is our trainer, nothing more. He doesn't force us to do things wrong. He will make us strong if we know the secret behind him. Now, I'm going to hold up there because there is a component to this whole dichotomy of forces, good, evil, God, Satan. Yes, a lot of evil arises from within, our own failures, our own moral failures, our own weakness, our own lack of discipline. Much evil arises from selfishness, of course. And Satan is merely a scapegoat to perpetuate, to make ourselves feel good with our weaknesses, our moral lack. If you still live in that weakness without discipline, if you have not transcended your lower nature, if you have not contacted your holy guardian angel and lived under the auspices and the directions of your angel, if you have not invoked and assimilated your higher self, higher being, then you will, of course, need a Satan to blame everything upon. But I will say this, and I'll wrap this particular, whatever this message is about. There are higher dimensional beings, and in fact, the negative ET factions, the Alpha Draconians and whatnot, the Greys, all of that, they kind of skewed the game. They kind of played unfairly. They, tricked a lot of people, used a lot of their higher dimensional skill set to kind of keep mankind in bondage. But look, I have it on good authority that the Sikaar Empire, the Alpha Draconin, the Greys, and all of that scapegoat. You can no longer can blame your weaknesses even on that, because at one time that was true. Yes, they cheated and skewed the game, and it was difficult to be a human and to do the right thing. But that excuse, no more. If you're still finding that you're at a bad spot in your life, you only have yourself to blame. And if you are still living in ego separation, that's probably where you should begin to understand. I know that any time that I get into a conundrum, or I'm somehow battling, not at peace within myself, it always stems from this ego separation, and when I finally am calm down and kind of reorient my component structures and meditate even, and then once the ego sort of just falls away, drifts away, because there is a grand power around us that is easily to be tapped into, that transcends who our little ego tells us we are, and connects us to the magnificence of source and source awareness and intelligent infinity. And it's truly a miraculous process to undergo, and it's achievable. It certainly is achievable, and it's exciting times to be alive, and it's an exciting time to be a student at the Umbanda New Earth Education Center. Hit that subscribe button.
Namaste. Namaskaram.